And then, because Mamish, we stayed very holy. You know, Egypt was the lowest morally and whatever it is, right? And Yidden were unbelievable. You know, I don't want to say anything bad. You know, slaves, the way they live, right? Most slaves, when you take a slave woman, and she has 10 children, each child from another man, right? Maybe 2 are from another man. For us Yidden, it was very much the holiness, especially from the women, was awesome. Remember, the Gemara says because of the holy women we were from Egypt. Remember, there was, when we came out from Egypt, there was only one child who was born because one Egyptian raped her. People ask me, I mean, the Egyptians were the worst. How come they didn't rape our women? Because there was something so holy about our women, they couldn't rape. And I want to tell you, I'm going to have to drink coffee to wake up.
Amen.
I heard this from a Russian Jew in Yerushalayim. Actually, from a Russian woman. That they lived in Kiev during the First World War. And her mother was not just beautiful, but, you know, really, gewalt beautiful. If you remember when the whole thing with the white Russian and red Russian, I mean, both of them, the first thing they did, they rape all the women, then the red come in, they rape all the women, kill, steal, especially Yidden, so on. So, her father was a Chassidish Yid, don't know which level. Kiev is mostly Chernobyl or Asian. So, a Cossack came in and tied her husband down. Then he dragged her into the bedroom. She says to him, listen to me, brother. If you rape me, then the moment you walk out, you'll be shot dead. If you don't rape me, I swear to you, you'll make it till after the war. But you know, she was such a tzedekah, so real, that the Mamish listened to her. And he was so taken by her. He was so taken by her that he came back that night and guarded the house the whole night. He was afraid other Cossacks would come. And at the end of the war, he came back and he told her, I want you to know, I know it's your blessing kept me alive. Because I went to situations, people shot at me, it was a miracle. And I know it's only because I listened to you. So, and each of us, unbelievable, you know, like, those women had unbelievable, mamish holy power. Hey, who speaks Russian here? Nobody. I asked them if they speak Russian, any here.
I say me.
What?
I speak Russian.
I know now. I want you to feel at home. I thought maybe one of the family also speaks Russian.
Cool.
Yeah?
Well, why you ask?
No, because I want people to greet you in Russian so you feel
No,
at
I
home.
understand things. I understand things.
Yeah?
Yes, absolutely.
Oh, good. Hey. You want to offer them some cake, those ladies, too? I didn't need them. But then there's also basically it is because we didn't talk evil about each other. Didn't talk Lashon Hara. Why we really came out of Egypt is really because we're really holy people. Remember, it was not that God suddenly took 3 million people out of Egypt, made something out of them. We were already an entity by ourselves. Right? The Gemara says we were like a baby inside its mother. It's an entity by itself. It's not completely alive yet, right? Has to be born, but it's already something, right? We were still in Egypt. We were not a nation by ourselves, but we were already like an entity by ourselves. What made us into an entity? Because the Egyptians were the lowest. The numbers are holy. Okay, now everybody knows that besides everything else, the 4 cups are because of 4 holy mothers. And we'll go to it slowly. The Gemara says if any Jew is holy, it's only because of our holy mother Sarah. You remember that she came down to Egypt, and the first thing is she was brought to the court of Pharaoh. Remember our holy mother Sarah looked, morning Marine, our holy mother Sarah looked like Eve before she was driven out from paradise. You know what that means? You know, I mean, this is not to be believed, right? You know, every time we are a little bit sad or we have pain, it shows on our faces, right? Imprint on our faces. Can you imagine? Eve, before she was driven out from paradise, right? Paradise, right? So her face was glowing. The moment she was driven out from paradise, so much sadness was showing on her face, right? And Sarah looked, hey, you jumped, brother. And Sarah was like, like before Eve was driven out from paradise. You know what the whole thing of the tree of knowledge is? This is good and this is bad. Your whole life, everything is good and bad. The moment you're into this is good and this is bad, when something bad happens, it shows on your face, right? You see, there are so many creams now to get rid of your wrinkles, to make your face more young, but you need something else. Cream. Yeah, you need anti-tree of knowledge. Because the moment you know this is good and this is bad, it's showing on your face. You have to be on the level to realize it's all good, right? If it's all good, you know, go out, imagine nothing bad ever happened to me. I look like I'm 5 years old, right? You see, the specialty, Sarah was the first one to fix the tree of knowledge. You know how much pain she had? She wanted so much to have a child until she is 90, she should have a child. She'd be the most broken woman in the world. And she, you know, when she was taken to the court of Pharaoh, you think they invite her just for the coffee? You know, when Pharaoh wants to rape a woman, he knows how to do it, right? Who knows what he did there with her? And Hashem, you know, and in last moment the Gemara says an angel came and knocked him over. You know what it means? An angel came. That means, and it was not normal that she was not ready. Normal help from heaven, from the highest place, right? Anyway, so Sarah paved the way for all of Israel to be holy, despite that it's impossible normally to be a holy person. So the first cup of wine, Kadesh, right, holy, is the cup of our Holy Mother Sarah. And you see what it is, the first cup of Holy Mother Sarah is also very tasty. Get you out of the mud, right? I want to go back to this woman in Kiev. Listen to this. That after the communists took over, obviously, I don't know if she told me, I think it was her grandmother, she made a mikveh in the dining room. You know what she did? Under the table was an opening. Right? Nobody suspects the under the table an opening. And then there was like going down a little bit, like a little ladder, and she made the mikveh right there. In 500 miles around Kiev, everybody knew if you want to go to the mikveh, you have to go. He begins the story. Unbelievable. Then one year told me in Russia that his sister-in-law, you know, in Moscow there's a mikveh. The KGB ran into the mikveh in Moscow. They saw a woman there and they shot her right in the mikveh. The sister-in-law. When they sent her husband for 20 years to Siberia. You know, some of the world forgets already, you know, what communism was all about. You know. Anyway, so one night a woman came. She drove in a car 500 miles to go to the mikveh. The only thing is, obviously the mikveh wasn't heated, right? It was just, because you know, in order to make a mikveh, you have to bring snow, and when it melts, the water is kosher for the mikveh. Anyway, I guess, you know, she was so excited. She goes in the mikveh, and the woman standing up there, you know, helping her to come out. She doesn't come out. And it's her daughter, they're coming, they drag her out, she's dead. She doesn't breathe. And you know what it is? You cannot call a doctor. Because when the doctor comes, makes a report, there's a mikveh, and the woman dies in the mikveh. I mean, this is the end. So, you see, I don't know how dead she was, but anyway, Mamish, he says, my grandmother, she's my grandmother. Mamish, like you know, she was praying so much, this woman died. First of all, she doesn't deserve to die. She drove 500 miles to go to the mikveh. Then she dies in the mikveh? You can't do this. You can't. And she was mamish arguing with God like crazy. Suddenly the woman opened her eyes. And she said, I got to go to the mikveh. They couldn't keep her away. She went down to the mikveh. Unbelievable. So then she says that my mother says to her, if you have so much Mesirat Nefesh, right, in the mikveh, then I bless you, your children should be born in Israel. And miraculously, this woman, after she came out from the mikveh, she got pregnant, unbelievable, and she and her husband made it straight to Israel, one way or the other, like God opened the borders for her. Unbelievable. Okay, this is our Holy Mother Sarah, right? Our Holy Mother Sarah opened gates. Because everybody knows that Yitzchak was born on the first night of Pesach. Because you remember the angel came to Avraham on the first night of Pesach, right? And he says, 1 year from now you're going to have a baby, he said to Sarah, right? So Yitzchak was born the first night of Pesach. So it's, first of all, it's just, God took us out of Egypt because of our Holy Father Abraham, right? He promised him. And can you imagine what the Yontiv, it's for Sarah, finally she has a baby, right? Gewalt, right? Her life's dream. I have to tell you something which is from Ishmael. You know, our Holy Mother Sarah lived 127 years. How long was she a mother? 37 years, right? In 90 years she was not. Why do we call her our Mother Sarah? They call her Sarah, the Holy Sarah, the cute Sarah. She was only a fraction of her life a mother. So the Ishmael says, from the moment Sarah was born, all she was praying, oh Moshe, let me have a baby. You know? It was not 37 years. She was training to be a mother for 90 years, right? Unbelievable. Okay. When was she taken to Pharaoh? unbelievable way out story. When was she taken to Pharaoh? First night of the Seder, right? When you see the first night of the Seder is the night of miracle. Mamish, God took her out from the house of Pharaoh. You know, Pharaoh was not just the cute of the President of the United States. Pharaoh at that time was the king of the world, right? You know the famous joke? I'll tell you a joke. I'm sure you know it anyway. Okay, Carter and Begin and Sadat are sitting in Camp David. And God comes to appears to them. God says, ask me anything and I will answer you. Okay, Sadat is first. A guest, right? So Sadat says, God, when will Egypt again, what's the name of the Egyptian money? Whatever it is. When will the Egyptian money again rule the world like in former good days? God says, approximately 100,000 years. It is 100,000 years, please God, can you make it in my lifetime? God says, even 100,000 years I'm already rushing, but that's the best I can do.
Even 100,000.
Yeah. Okay, then comes Brother Carter. Brother Carter says, God, when will the dollar again rule the world? God says, about 20,000 years. Carter begins to cry, please make it in my lifetime. I want to see the glory of the United States. God says, I'm rushing it beyond your wildest dreams. That's the best I can do for you, 20,000 years. And comes Brother Begin. Begin says, when will the shekel rule the world? And God begins crying, not in my lifetime. Well, that's good. There's another joke like this. Someone comes to the Belzer Rebbe and says, Rebbe, how can I make the shekel should be as good as a dollar? There's only one way. If you become the president of the United States, then all America will go bankrupt. It'll be just as much as a shekel. Time. One way of ending it. Okay, let's just concentrate on the first. What's happening there?
Dripping on you. I don't want to drip on your shoulder.
Oh, let me shake you out. Okay, then one more, which is awesome. Basically, God's name has 4 letters, right? However, this is mamish deep stuff. The first chorus is the letter Yud. You know what the letter Yud is? It's actually nothing. Doesn't even have a form. You know, I put the pen on the paper,